Okay. Okay.
All right. Did you want
All
to
right.
your portfolio? Let me introduce you. This is Aaron Atkinson, everybody. He is a professional photographer working for Macy's of New York, and he does product photography. He is going to show us his portfolio of images that he's doing, and then he's also going to show you his personal portfolio of his personal work. And then with luck, we will get to see a little tour of where he photographs. So you guys get to see a little behind the scenes. Hey, it's yours.
Hey guys, how's it going? I don't know if Shelby told you, I'm a former student of hers from 12 years ago, 13 years ago,
A few years ago.
a
A
few
few years.
years ago. Yeah, so I started, this is where my photography program, my photography life started was with Chris Shelby in that same room that you guys are in now. Got my start with film with her and then moved into digital. And I still shoot film, but very rarely do I shoot film because I shoot all day at work. Currently, I am learning how to use a new camera that we have, the Canon R5. It's so much because our cameras are on all day. So I'm burning through 3 or 4 batteries in a day. So we had to get the power outlet thing. So we have a battery inside the thing that runs the power cable to the so it can be on all day. But yeah, it's getting used to the new program. Okay, so where do you want to start?
Did you want to show your portfolio?
I sent it to you actually because I'm on
Oh,
my iPad, so I don't know if I can
oh,
show it.
oh, okay. I can try
Let's
that. Let's see if you can
okay.
get it up. See if you can work it first. It was really slow to open. Yes, Ken.
How come you guys just use beat on battery for the R5?
How come you don't use a B mount battery for the R5?
Because this is what we were given so far, because they had to supply the entire studio with R5. So that is 60 cameras that they had to supply to the whole studio, which means each one of those cameras, the bodies alone are what, 25 to 3 grand, each one of the bodies plus lenses. So it was a lot.
How do you like the move to mirrorless?
It was a lot of adjustment and getting stuff the way it's supposed to and learning how to make sure that it auto rotates and that it auto white balances. And then we had to set it up so that the viewfinder shuts off and it comes back on when we get close to it. And it's just been it's just been interesting. Um, oops, I don't know if I can. I'm gonna try this. You might have to switch. Uh, it's not coming up on your end.
I can try. Hang on. Let me find it. Right. Oh, let me go to small screen.
It's opening slow on my end too. The Wi-Fi in
Yeah.
this building sucks. I'm not on my main computer. That's the other problem. Who knew?
Okay, I got it. Hang on.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah, hang on. I
You
gotta
probably
share it.
you probably share your screen too.
Got it.
Okay.
Oh, whatever. No, stop it. Hold on. Go back over here to the.
It doesn't like us today.
Oh, this is a day ending in Y. Why do I get rid of this? No, I don't want reactions. Go away. Go away. Go away. All right, go away.
Where did you have it? Because you're sharing your screen now.
I am, but I can't see it. I clicked on it. All right, let me go back to the email. Got it?
No, that's the old one. That's the old one.
Okay, we'll find a new one. Did you send me a second one?
I sent you one in an email and you looked at it and you said, "Oh, that looks really good."
Ah, that's the one I'm pulling up. Okay, let me go
Yeah.
back to email. You sent it to me. It probably got buried under email. There it is. Got it.
There it is. Okay. There
Got
we
it.
go. Yeah, that's it. Okay. There it is. I don't know if you can go full screen on this stuff.
Hold on, I'm moving stuff around. That is as full as I can get. I
Okay. That's
believe.
fine.
Oh, that can make it a little bigger. How's that?
Okay.
That work?
So yeah, that works.
Okay.
So
Tell me when.
go just move it up and down.
Okay.
So this is a shot that I did last year for an ad that is in it was one of the catalogs that we did. This took a while to style and shoot. So what we had to do is we had to lay the green glasses down first and then use fishing line to stack the other glasses on top of each other. So that was one shot, was just getting the glasses that we get the main shot. And then we had to get a shot of each one of the lenses to have that little brightness in each one of them. And then I had to get a shot for the shadow. So in total, this shot was maybe 10 to 12 shots on top of the main one. Then I had to go back in through into Photoshop and then paint in everything that I needed.
So you're painting out the lines and then are you painting in anything else?
I'm painting in the brightness spots
Okay.
all over, and then the lenses. I had to relight for the lenses to get brighter on the green one. I had to relight to get the brightness on the blue lens Ray-Bans.
Okay.
So I had to do all of that just for this one shot.
Any questions on this class?
Approximately how many shots total?
He said 15, 12 to 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Swanee.
The actual solid background, or is it like what kind of background do you use?
Can you talk about the background?
The background is actually Color-Aid. If you guys don't know what Color-Aid is, Color-Aid's a very expensive paper that is Pantone. It's Pantone color, so it's the actual color of what comes from Pantone, so the actual number. And we use that sometimes for background colors. Sometimes we'll use color paper that we use in a sweep. A sweep is you take a piece of paper and roll it, have it high, and then you roll it down to your surface and make sure that it has a curve on it so that it looks infinite. It doesn't look like it's a box. So the paper sweeps down and it comes down to the bottom. So you use that as your straight background. And then on top of that, this is only 2 lights.
Okay. And
So you have,
what kind of lights are you using?
we're using Speedotron lights. So we have a strobe and a modeling light in one light. And so I have an overhead light. I have a big softbox, probably about 3 foot by 2.5 foot softbox on top. And then I have a harder Speedotron with an actual diffusion, like a cone on the front of it, and that's going through a diffusion sheet. So we're shooting through that into this. And then sometimes I'll use another light from the side that has a grid. What a grid does is it focuses the light to a certain degree. So you can have a 40% grade or down to a 3. So the less the number, the tighter the actual grid is, the more light is focused in that one spot. And we'll use that to get highlights. And so some of the highlights you'll see in some of the stuff, you can actually see details of gemstones, or if it's a suede shoe, you can actually see the fibers of the suede coming off.
Kim, you have a question?
Would that be 24? Like, what's the type of lens? Like,
What lens?
This is the lens. I used a 24 to 105, but this is probably around 50, because 50 is pretty much the normal size for a 35 millimeter to be. Because if you go anything less than 50, it distorts and it stretches out. And then once you get in past 50, your focal length kind of, especially for this kind of stuff, you want everything as sharp as possible. So I think this one I shot at around 50 millimeter at f16. I always shoot it at 1/125th shutter speed.
And your ISO is like 100?
Yeah, it's 100.
Can you talk a little bit about your composition?
Just the composition. I mean, this stuff really comes, it's a chain. So we have the PMs that tell us what they want. The art director tells us what they want in the styling. Then the stylist styles it. So then those three have to talk together to get stuff. And then if I say, oh, okay, the styling looks good. Now it's on to you to light.
Okay.
So I sit there and wait for them to get all this stuff. And most of the time while they're doing this, I'm editing other shots because sometimes there's 3 sets going and we each have 6 or 7 shots. But on that day, we might get 2 to 3 shots, maybe 4 shots done that whole day because it takes so much time to style all this stuff.
Okay, so an art stylist is a completely separate job. They're not even taking the picture, they're putting the composition together. Swanee.
Glasses. Did he completely edit them, or did he like angle them so that it didn't have a reflection of the studio in him?
Can you hear that question?
Kind of.
One more time.
For the glasses, like the reflection, did you completely edit that, or did you move them so that they wouldn't reflect back? Like
No, I actually did separate shots of that. So the trick way to do that is once you have your main shot, is you put white paper around it. And when you put white paper, the light from the top reflects off of that and bounces into the glasses. And then once you have that, then you can take this thing. If we go out in the studio, I can show you. It's a diffusion cone. So it's a piece of mylar that you put into a cylinder and you can put it in different spots to get certain stuff to be bright all over the place. Most of the stuff we use is what we call foam core. It's white board. It's just pure white and it bounces light off directly into it and bounces wherever you want to put it. And sometimes we use reflector cards, which is it's like tinfoil, but on paper. And we use that, and I can take that board and I can shape it. I can actually put it in my hand and rotate it and squeeze it with my hand to get it to move in different spots. Sometimes with this, it's trial and error. You like, oh, that looks good. And you shoot it and it looks horrible. You could spend 20, 30 minutes to an hour just trying to get something the right way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Ruth Bernhardt kind of stuff where she would take days to light stuff and only do one freaking shot. But
yeah.
That.
I see the Ray-Ban logo on the second pair of glasses.
Mhm.
Did you have to do anything to bring out that Ray-Ban logo?
Yeah, I took the diffusion cone and put it right on top of that to make that pop. And then I'll go into Photoshop, and if it's not to the brightness I want, I'll select just that one area and brighten that one area on that slide just to take that and paint that one spot in, which I do a lot. I just did a couple bags, Tommy Hilfiger bags, where I took the Tommy logo and just selected around that one just to brighten that one spot up, and then layered that onto the main shot and just painted the letters and the logo of Tommy Hilfiger in there to make them pop. Because we have to do that for everything that has gold on it too. We have to make each part of the gold sparkle.
So that little connection here with the
Yeah.
glasses, you select just that.
Yeah. No, either I select that or I take a shot of just that one piece and put it on and paint it on there.
Wow. Okay. Let me move on to the next shot.
Uh,
Here we go.
These were fun. The Karl Lagerfeld took 45 minutes for the stylist to style because she did that whole strap with fishing line. And then I have to come in. You see the buckle, the little latch thing on the left?
Yeah, right here.
I had to do the same thing with that and make that bright, shiny gold along with the lettering, and then doing highlights across it and making sure that the shadow, sometimes they have the shadows being hard, sometimes they have the shadows being diffused, like they're hard at the main point, but then fall off as they go away from the product. So you have to get the shadow right.
Any questions?
And
Okay, got a couple questions. Tressa, and then
okay.
Eric.
get the lighting even on the strap? Cause it kind of looks like that holographic reflective material.
Yeah, that is done with a silver card. You'll take an if it's not too crazy, which I hope it won't be by the time we go out there. Um, the silver card and white cards are your best friends, especially for when you have iridescent stuff like this. The silver card will bring it, it'll make the colors pop more, and then you can actually see the detail of the stitching in there.
Erica, you had a question?
Mentioned that the stylist like sets up the shots for you or the items. So you just go in and just shoot and you're not allowed to like move it or adjust anything.
It depends. I mean, the art director and I will work on first is the angle and where they want it framed in the crop. So we have certain crops that we work with. Like some jobs it'll be a square crop, some crops it'll be like this, like the one with the shoes, which is a more of a horizontal rectangle. And the stuff that I normally do is called it's a vertical rectangle, and everything fits in a certain crop. And then we'll go through and find the crop, and then the stylist will go in and do this, and then she'll take a shot so that the art director can see it on in camera, what they can see on the computer, and then they'll go and talk to each other and figure out how that they want stuff to look. Do they want the loop bigger? Do they want it smaller? Do they want that one strap to hang out more? Do they? It's a process.
And I guess they're looking also at the negative space. So negative
Mhm.
space, would be the space inside the loop here, and space this shape here, this shape here. Even these
Mhm.
little shapes are considered when they're
Mhm.
this kind of styling.
Because they're also looking to see how much it fits in the frame, and is it too much in the frame? Is it not enough in the frame? Do I need to zoom in? Do I need to zoom out? Do I need to tilt the camera up, tilt the camera down? It's like it's not as difficult. If it was we were shooting 4x5 or 8x10 film, this would take us all day because the focus on those guys, you have the tilt shift, so you're under the hood tilt shifting constantly with the loop and trying to get everything in focus and pray to God that you don't bump it.
So you're not doing tilt shift with these?
No, this is just straight up.
Okay.
This is a straight up 24 to 105 millimeter lens on. When I was using a Canon 5D Mark III with this. Most of this stuff was the Canon the 5D, except for the stuff at the bottom.
Any
And then
comments?
Mhm.
Can you talk about the shoes a little bit?
the shoes was that was much more a labor of love because I had to get all that gold to be sparkly and shiny. And a trick that we do sometimes is we'll shoot one. I'll get the main shot, and then I will shoot one shoe, and then take it out, so I can get cards and stuff underneath the other shoe to get some other stuff to sparkle through, or to be brighter or light up, and then I'll composite all that back together.
Damien, question.
Is that the real shadow under the shoe? Or is that
That's the real shadow under the shoe. That one took me forever to get the real shadow under that shoe. So sometimes I will just shoot just for the shadow. So if I get the background right and the shadow right, I may just take the main shoe and just paint it in on top of that other shoe. So I don't have to do extra work because a lot of times we send our stuff out to be retouched in India and it'll come back. So we do the main preliminary stuff that we can. And some stuff it's like the background's gonna be a different color, but we'll shoot it close enough to it and then send it out and have them color change the background.
Here, did you have a question? Okay. Anybody else? Any questions? Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next one.
Okay. This is a detail shot that I do a lot. That is a throw blanket, one light, white cards. So when we have blankets and sheets and stuff, we have to show the detail of it so people can see it online, what it looks like. And that is, I'm probably about 105 millimeters. No, yeah, I'm about 105 millimeters, but my camera's back so I can get it in focus as much as I possibly can. The point is to get the center in focus and have fall off on the foreground and the background. So you want the center in focus, but everything else to fall off. And then you have to try to get those lights to come across, get the highlights come across the peaks and valleys and have open shadows and still show details as much as possible.
So was it just naturally wrinkly or did the stylist put the wrinkles in?
The stylist puts the wrinkles in so that we can see those highlights come across and the peaks and valleys and all the rest of that stuff.
Wow. Cool to hear behind the scenes. Any questions on this one? Ken, and then 20.
Do you ever like upscale the images or use super resolution?
Do you upscale the images or use super resolution?
Um, I kind of cheat a little bit. I use camera raw sometimes, and I use the texture and clarity to try to bring a lot of it out. And then we use a program called Capture One, which is the professional version of Lightroom. So you can do a lot more manipulation in Capture One and then take it in the Photoshop and even do more of it.
20.
Upscale it or no? Because when you change the texture and stuff like that, that's not technically changing the resolution.
No, because I'm zoomed in and then I crop down into that one spot. So that's not even the full blanket is like 5 feet long by 3 feet wide. This is just that one small section of the blanket. That's all we wanted to see.
Did that answer your question, Ken?
Kind of.
Okay. 20.
How close were you to like to get that frame that you wanted?
How close were you?
Maybe 3.5, 4 feet. Because with zoomed in that far, your depth of field disappears. So you have to back it off further to try to get everything in much in focus as you can. That being that far, that close in is fine because you're just going to crop into it anyways to get the section you want. So you just want your one spot to be in focus.
Any other questions? We'll move on. Move on to the next one. Okay.
Oh, the bag. This one's a fun one. This is several shots because I had to get the logo on the side to shine and also get a highlight in there. Plus have the gold be shiny, have the snake be shiny, and get all the gold and even in the strap, and then on the bag to be shiny all at the same time.
So
So
again,
this
how many lights would this be?
this is 2 lights.
Okay.
We normally do minimal 2 to 3 lights on most of the stuff that we do.
Okay.
But this is just multiple frames of shooting. Like I shot to get the snake, and then I shot again to get the highlight across the top, and then I shot again to get the side so you can see the Karl Lagerfeld and the letters to be gold. Then I put a small highlight on the strap, and then I did all the rest of the gold too. So most of the time, it's multiple little tiny things to get highlights and then get stuff moved around.
How many shots for this one?
This one was probably 10.
Okay.
Here's another detail shot that I did. This is that sheet is one light.
Okay.
To get that across. Now the boots, I had to shoot the front one to get all those highlights and stuff like that. Pull the front one out, and then shoot the back boot to get the same highlights because I couldn't get both at the same time. And try to preserve that shadow as much as possible, but also keep the highlights and keep the iridescent color of it.
Mm-hmm.
This one, the boots, I think it was 15.
Okay. And when you say 15 shots, how long does it take you to shoot that?
Depends. It depends on if I get the highlight the way I want it. If I don't get the highlight the way I want it. So it's constantly shoot. Okay, that's okay. Let's try a little closer. Shoot it. Then I don't like that one. Let's go back to the other one. So then you're constantly shooting and then shooting, looking, and then deleting and thinking, oh crap, I deleted the wrong one. And then you got to go back. It depends on the shoe. Sometimes I can get a shot done like this in a half hour, 45 minutes, and sometimes it's 2 hours.
Okay. And then how
Sometimes,
much time with editing? Then okay, so 2 hours to shoot, how half an hour to 2 hours to shoot? How long to edit?
Depends. Because I take a lot of breaks because I can't sit there for that long. It depends. Sometimes it's 20 minutes to 45 minutes.
Okay.
Because I have everything. And then I label stuff in my Capture One, like right toe, right boot toe, left boot toe. Like I have everything labeled out there so I can just drop and just process it out, and just go this, and this.
And so what's your day like? You come in and how much time do you have to get this done?
This is what we have for the whole day.
Okay.
So I come in, turn my lights on. Sometimes I get in like half hour, 45 minutes before everyone. And that's when I normally do editing, is before everyone shows up. And then I'll take a half hour lunch too, instead of an hour, so I can edit some more just to get ahead of the power, just to get ahead so I'm not behind. Because I get distracted easy, and the people are always talking around me and they're having conversations, and then I just won't get stuff done. So
That's real.
that's real. Okay.
So do you walk in the morning and then they're going to say, we need to have you shoot these iridescent hunter boots today? Or, I mean, when do you?
I don't know. Like, I know that we have a certain job, but I don't know what shots are coming to me, because if we have 3 sets, they're split off. One photographer has these shots, one photographer has these shots, I have my shots, and then we have 3 different stylists, but one art director for the 3 sets. So they're bouncing between all 3 of us, figuring it out.
How many photographers are there?
4 in the home group, 4 in my group, 4 in baby kids, 15 in jewelry, 3 in fashion, and 3 in social media. So that's a lot.
Wow.
So there used to be more. There used to be more of us, but after COVID and after they furloughed us, and then they figured out that they couldn't pay the rest of us, so they got rid of like 25 photographers after we came back from COVID. This one is the same process. I'd shoot one shoe, take one out, shoot that one. I had to do that because the black shoes in the back I couldn't get in focus, because I had to front focus to get the 2 beige ones in focus. So I would shoot the beige ones, get all the gems to be bright and sparkly. And then once I did that, I took the 2 beige shoes out, refocused on the 2 black ones in the back, and did the exact same thing. Would shoot that one.
And you're using
Hold the front one. I'm using
silver? Yeah.
I'm using silver, and I'm using the diffusion cone.
Okay.
Also, so I would do that and put it over the shoe, because I had one that was big enough I can put over the shoe, just to get some of the gems to be sparkly, because you want some of the darkness so that it looks rounded and it looks 3D. And this also is white paper on the bottom of it and around it.
Okay.
So it's just white printer paper.
Okay. Oh, Damien?
When you shoot your shoes, do you think of like shooting the shadow and like highlights and like the
Yeah, you have to. That the shadows are they're put in place first. We need these shadows. The problem with shoes is because since it is a shoe, your shadow underneath is going to be much darker, no matter what you do. It also depends on the direction of the light. This one we shot left to right. Normally we shoot right to left, so the shadow's going to be different. And this was like, you have to the shadow's already predetermined before we even get the job.
Wow. Okay, here we go.
These are my own personal, these are what we call tests. So if we have downtime, we can test on stuff, bring stuff in. That pedal is mine, and that is a trick that I learned from like multiple people, but one of them I learned from Chris. The background is black velvet. So when you put stuff on black velvet, it looks like it's floating. And there's a couple other shots in here that are black velvet, and the bottom is black plexi. So that's how I got that subtle reflection underneath. And then the back is black velvet, so you don't see the back. Now this is one light with barn doors. So I don't know if you guys have seen the barn doors yet. It's metal clasp that you put over the light, and you can open and close it to get the light to focus in a certain way. So I had the light over and behind the pedal, so it's coming down in front of it. And that's how I get that streak of light to be so that it's only bright in the center. And then I had to do different shots to get the letters to be more yellow, and I had to get silver card underneath to get the JHS pedal to come up. And in each one of the silver things, I had to get bright on top of that. And then the the little light there, I forgot to bring in my power cable to get it to brighten up, so I had to select that and then brighten that.
Gianni, you have a question?
I wanted to ask, what kind of lens would you use for all these photos?
They're all the same lens. It's all the 24 to 105.
That's a standard, it used to be, I don't know if it is anymore. It used to be a standard zoom length for the Canon, 24 to 105. Yeah.
I used to have a 20, I think it was 28 to 70. That's what I used to
Yeah.
use.
Another one.
But then I moved over to this new group of handbags, and we used a 28 to 105. I have used a couple times the 100mm macro that we have here, which is a gorgeous lens, and I have used 85 before also.
Nate and then Ken. Nate? Any filters? Do you use any?
No filters. No
Okay.
filters. This is just straight up.
Okay. Ken? What's your aperture?
Normally for anything I shoot in the studio is f11 or f16. It depends on the day and the product. Like I just shot some sheets just before lunch that I couldn't get right, and I moved it from f16 to f11, and I was like, oh, it's too bright. So then I hate using non-real f-stops, but I had to. I used it to f13, and it came out perfect. Because in our program, Capture One, you can change the f-stop and the shutter speed from the computer, not from the camera. So I don't even have to go to the camera to touch it. I just go to my screen and click what I need.
Erica?
I find this interesting, like the commercial photography. Is that something that you knew you wanted to do, or something that you kind of got into?
I fell into it. My last photo teacher, Klaus Schnitzer, he took us on a tour through here because his former student is one of the directors here. Klaus taught photo for 45 years, and he is pretty famous in the automotive photography world. Like he has stuff that he shot for BMW, stuff in Germany, stuff in Austria, the BMWs. His big thing was sitting in the back of a car while the car's driving, and he would take photos of the car as it was driving. But he took us on a tour here, and I was getting ready to graduate, and I was like, I gotta get a job. So I emailed the director, and that was 6 years ago, and I've been here ever since.
Can you talk
I'm sorry. The glasses, those are my sunglasses, and that was another test that I did to see how I could do with a darker blue lens. So that is just a straight up glasses, and I took not a silver card, but a silver plate. It's like almost like aluminum to get that. So that was multiple tries of trying to get it to do what I did with it. That was just me trying something out, and that's color aid paper also. It's not pretty, but it did work.
Any questions on this one?
This was another test that I did. That's one of the beds that we shoot in one of the sets that we built. But I did this one to see if I could still do it because I haven't done it in a while. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 lights.
Wow.
And foam cord. We use 4x8 panels, and those are around, like there's 2 on the right side. There's one in the front, and then there's another one on the left side.
Are those
But
V flats? Are you using V flats?
I'm using V flats and just single cards also. So the way my goal was to get it to look like morning sunlight coming through. So what I did is there is actually a silled window on the right side. So I took a light, a very hard light, and pushed it halfway between the wall and behind it to get the light to come through to get those streaks across the bottom. And then I had to get a light behind the other window really bright to make it look like sunshine, like sunlight was coming through. And then I worked with a bed stylist to get it to look like someone had just woken up, like the bed is messy. So this is just, and then I have a light very high up over the wall with a grid just shining just barely across the center of the pillows to try to get just a small highlight over there.
Did you say there's a bed stylist?
Yes, we have bed stylists, we have prop stylists, we have food stylists, we have clothes stylists. Um, yeah, the Aman is the bed stylist. She's been here 27 years and she's just done beds for 27 years.
Wow.
And I don't cross her because she will cut you if you get on her bad side. So
Funny. Any questions about this shot class? Wow. So so some hard lights, some more diffused lights for this.
mhm.
Okay.
It's mostly, yeah, and then like I'll have a big 4x4 softbox that I used on. I matter of fact, I did use one on here, a 4x4, so it's a 4 feet by 4 foot softbox that I had way low, and then we have these diffusions that we can put on the front that are Velcro, and I pulled it half down, so it's half diffusion, half hard light, and it's turned down way low just to get what I call a breath of light to go across.
Oh, that's interesting. That's cool.
That wallet is also a test that I did because I was bored one day. So I decided to do, I love this phrase, complementing contrasting colors. I learned that in color theory. So that wallet is aqua and the background is violet. So I had to shoot it to get the dark shadow to make sure it matched the whole shadow and then try to get as much texture across the wallet to show that it had texture and get the micro cores. This is one light, but I did it with a grid. So, but the light is really low and doesn't aim directly at the wallet. It comes across the wallet. So when you come across the wallet, it picks up all of that texture and detail.
Very cool. So
And
detailed.
then those wings, those are my wings actually, because when I was in the army, those are my wings. And I did the same thing. This is one light on black velvet. So it looks like it's floating. And then I had the light come straight across the top to get the main shot. And then I used a small piece of the reflector to get the rest of the highlights coming across. And then I had to use my diffusion paper to get the wings to be bright silver.
Damien had a question?
Yeah, I just like how he has the wallet, like, I don't know if it's me, but it looks like it's like kind of like tall and it looks like, you know how like a building has like a little shadow, like
Mhm.
the sun's going down, it kind of looks like that.
The thing is with these kind of shots, the one thing you guys got to remember is there's only one sun. So you got to figure out what direction you want that one sun to be.
That's a good way of putting it.
Because if you have multiple suns, like on Tatooine, you have double shadows. You don't want double shadows. This was another test that I did. I focused right in the center of the white blanket, and everything else falls off on purpose.
How many
So
lights?
this is about 5 or 6. I used the big light. See, that's a scenescape in the back of that window. It's backed off maybe about 3.5 feet, and there's a light, really bright light shining through that.
Okay.
So when you hear it, you can actually hear the pop of the strobe.
Uh-huh.
And that's on the main light is a big 4x4 softbox
Wow.
that's coming across, and then it's just small little cards here and there, and then it's other fill lights and stuff like that.
How many shots for this one?
This was one or two. Like as soon as I get it in camera, the main bed photographer, I was working with him. He's the one who taught me most of the stuff about skimming lights across the top and doing this and doing that. He came over and looked at it, he goes, "That's pretty good." And he just walked away, and that was it.
Cool.
I was like, "Okay, I'm good."
It just looks so natural. I mean,
Yeah,
doesn't it, class? Doesn't it look like it just,
You'd
yeah.
think it was an actual bedroom.
Yeah, you think that was real sun coming through the window. Yeah.
it's a lot of work. This one, okay, this was I was doing for a prop database because we have props all over the thing. So we have a database for everything. So I got bored. So I took the log underneath, which is made out of cork, and we had fake moss. Use one light on it, and then I focus stacked it. So you
Okay.
guys don't know what focus stacking is?
Some
Is
of
you
it,
take
go ahead, explain it.
so you take from either one of the corners, whichever corner you want, and then you focus on that one corner and take a photo down each one all the way down until you get all of them. Then you put it into a program called Helicon. And Helicon takes all those images and squishes them down into one so that they're all in focus. So the whole thing is in focus. Now, we actually have some of the phase one cameras. I don't know if you've seen those yet, Chris.
I have
Some
not.
of phase one has a camera that's 100 megapixels that we use in jewelry.
Wow.
The back is 100 megapixels. The camera alone is 60 grand. And it will focus stack in camera.
Oh
You
my
set up the
God.
program and it'll start at one corner and come down the other one, and you'll hear it go click, 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 click. Because the jewelry guys, they don't use strobes, they use hot lights.
Why don't they use,
So
oh,
because strobes, I don't know why they don't use strobes. Hot lights are more consistent because they don't the color and temperature doesn't change the whole time. Because if you're using strobes, you have to wait for the strobe to go off and then the pack to beep, and then it's just pain in the butt. And then the frog, I was testing out the new AI thing on Photoshop. So that's AI frog.
oh,
So I
Oh.
typed in the thing. I said, "Give me a frog," and it gave me this frog, and I put it directly right on there. And on whatever didn't match right, I fixed that around it.
wow. Photography is changing.
Yeah, it's getting scary.
Yeah.
These were a test that I did because it was right after the frog because I had nothing to do, and we had flowers that were going to get thrown out. So I said, "Let's go have fun." This is the black velvet. And one light. This is a light with a snoot. A snoot is a disc that you put over the front of the light that it looks like Snuffleupagus' trunk. And this was a labor of love of shooting and moving the light around to see exactly where you wanted highlights, where you didn't want highlights, and just moving it. So it's a shoot and move kind of thing. You just shoot, move, and then you can just keep angling it all over the place. And then like there's some fine tuning stuff afterwards, like the green wasn't green enough for me. So I fixed the green on the stems of the yellow flower. Just fix that. And then the other one was a flower that's getting ready to die. And I shot it, and one of the other photographers came by and he's like, "That would look really good in black and white." So I changed it to black and white and did a little bit more editing, and there it is.
Okay. Any questions on the flowers? Very cool. Very nicely done.
These were my personal project that I used to. I noticed because I have an hour and a half to 2 hour train ride into work every day. Because I live in New Jersey, I work in Queens. So if you've never been to New York, it's not far, but it is far. So this is the train. Because I would just ride on the train and zone out. So I started experimenting with shutter drag. Shutter drag is where you you lessen the time of your shutter speed. So like you can go down to a full second, you can go down to 5 seconds, you can go down to this, and then you have to figure out your shutter speed, and then you have to figure out your aperture, and you have to figure out your shutter speed, then you have to figure out your ISO, which one will work right. And some of this, and then it was just trial and error the whole time. And this one, I don't know how I did it, but that is the bridge behind a train, an Amtrak train going the other direction.
Oh, That's
So
cool.
that's the bridge going into um Secaucus,
Mhm.
and that's an Amtrak train going the other direction. I don't know how I got the train to be behind it, but it worked.
That's cool.
These are also shutter drag. That is the 7 train at Times Square. This is the one going into Queens, and the next image is the one going in, coming out of Queens, going into Manhattan. Or actually, already in Manhattan. So it gives an optical illusion that it's bending. I don't know if you see that, but the train is not bending.
Yeah.
That is just straight up shutter drag and just trying to have fun in the mundaneness of commuting.
Now, are there people in these shots that are just not showing up because you're
They're
so
right there on the, if you look in the top
there?
left, there's a person right there.
Okay. Yeah. Do you know the work of Alexei Titarenko?
No, actually, I should look that up right now.
Yeah.
Um,
He's Russian.
Matt, yeah, Alexei.
TIT. I have to
Come
look
on.
at spelling. I can email it to you. He's a Russian
Alexei.
photographer doing these kinds of pictures. And he's doing it in subways with people. Some of his early. Hang on a
Oh,
second.
yeah. I see it now. Oh, yeah. That's all. Yeah, I dig him already.
Yeah. I'll show the
Uh,
compliment.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig him already.
Here we go.
This is one of my favorites. This is a straight up.
Class likes this one.
I have to admit, I actually did this one with my cell phone, with my iPhone.
Use what you have.
Because I didn't bring the camera that day, and the light was coming through at the perfect time, and so my phone was there. I actually used an app called Slow Shutter, and you can set the time on there, how much time you wanted the shutter to be open. And this was another one of the things I was like, you know what? Let's just try it. And then I did some manipulation to it in Photoshop. Even though it comes out as JPEG, you can still do minor stuff. And you can do a lot of editing on your phone as it is.
Yeah.
Which is scary because if I can do this on my phone, why the heck do I need a digital camera anymore, kind of thing. But
you can't, I don't think you can do what you're doing with your camera
no,
with a
no,
phone.
I can't.
No.
But it's also
Yeah.
since I shoot so much, I have to question, do I need another digital camera or not?
Yeah.
Because I shoot all the time at work.
Yeah.
There's nobody here. I can take you guys out to go look
Okay.
at the studio a little bit. I'm
Any
on my
questions
iPad.
on this class? Any questions on this one? I'm going to go ahead and stop share so that he can go out.
Okay, let me go take this stuff, and I'm gonna go put my laptop on my favorite art director's desk, and then I'll come back to get it. You guys have any questions while we're walking?
What type of camera do you like to use?
What kind of camera do you like to use?
I have a Pentax 6.7, which is a massive. It looks like a 35 millimeter camera, but it's a medium format. And then I have a Yashica Mat 124. I have a Canon AE1. I always wanted a 4x5, but I haven't bought one yet. I'm gonna rotate. There we go. I've always wanted a 4x5 and an 8x10, and just never bought one because they're
There's a new company.
expensive.
There's a new company that's making them, and they're not that expensive.
Yeah, they're not that expensive. Intrepid.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna go real quick and see. Can I rotate the camera? I can. Okay, so this is the back of a bed set. You see the lights, and there is the 4x4 softbox. I'll go to the other side. So this is an actual set, and then the 4x4 softbox. This is another set that was built that we're done with over here. So as you see, there's just a floor and 2 walls, and you shoot into it and light around it. And then I'll take you guys back over to my set where I'm at now. This is a cyc wall. So it's all white and it sweeps. So when you shoot into it, it looks like it's infinite white. There's no seams. There's Tabor. I want to show you Tabor. So this is my set. This is what I'm working on today. So I have the one big light back here. I have one light pointed towards the ceiling to give a fill and drop down. And this is the product that I'm shooting. Right. It's just sheets. And there's the camera. And here, let me go around real quick. My computer. Let me turn this around real quick. Log in because been gone for so long. You can hear there's steaming going on. Okay, so this. Oh, nope. It's not where I want it. So this is my screen. This is what it looks like. So these are the three images that I did for this bed. So this is the main shot. This is the shot I wanted just for this section. This shot is just for the pillow, and I can process them out into Photoshop to look like that. That's the final image.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's
So
That's
much goes
an-
into this. It's amazing.
shit. I just almost fell. Yeah. So I mean, we have here. I'll show you guys. We have these are all headboards for beds.
Wow.
These are all headboards. This is just the back. Now turn around. That's still headboards. Then we have walls on top of walls on top of walls, and then this is the big studio. This is the textile studio. We even have a catwalk that you can put cameras up there to shoot down on stuff.
Wow.
And then you have the props over there in the back corner. That whole section, the whole corner is props. And then there's more walls. So this is right now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bays that we could be shooting all at the same time.
Wow.
And when I first started, there was 3 main photographers and 2 assistant photographers. I was one of the assistants, and the other one was able to shoot. They don't let you shoot for the first 6 months your hair. At that time, those 3 photographers would have, they would have 2 sets of piece going at the same time.
Wow.
So I was the one helping build sets, tear down sets, moving beds, putting beds in. Yeah. And now, since I'm now an actual photographer, I don't have to do any of that anymore.
That's cool.
So I can tell the assistants go over and do that and then kick them out of my way.
There you go. So you can't photograph for the first 6 months. That's like a probationary period.
Yeah, I mean, that's just them trying you out to see if they want to keep you around. I mean, it's like freelance stuff anyways. So you're freelancing for the first 2 to 6 months, and then after the 6 months, then they hire you full time. So then you're actually on staff, you get benefits. You actually get insurance, you get PTO, you get all that stuff. I gotta say, this is one of the last corporate studios running right now. There's this one, there's a couple more. JCPenney closed theirs down. There's other smaller studios. Their main, like for outside work. JCPenney uses some outside work. Bed Bath & Beyond when they went out. But this is one of the last ones that employs this many photographers all at once.
So, Kim, you had a question real quick?
Oh, I like the fact that people like him, teaches on YouTube also. I watch him and other people to do assignments with class.
Okay.
Yeah, so I like to say that to him.
Okay. Do
But
you do
it's
stuff on YouTube? Are you teaching on YouTube?
no, I'm not teaching you to. I don't have time.
Have like different compositions, different stuff they speak about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
2 people you should look at on YouTube is Matt Day, younger guy, and then the Art of Photography is another one. These guys have been on YouTube for years now, and they're still on there. The one benefit I say of this place is I get 4 weeks off the year. I get 4 I get 4 weeks of PTO throughout the year. Um, and I got really good benefits. I just wish that sometimes I could find a job closer to home, but I cannot find anything that pays me as much as I'm getting paid here outside.
Yeah.
So I stick with it. I deal with the stupid commute when everything is bad, like it was this week when a train derailed on my line. Took me 4 hours to get to work, 3.5 hours to get home. It was
Oh,
17 degrees
oh,
outside, and we stood for an hour and a half waiting on buses in
oh.
17 degree. But other than that, it's been great. I've been here 6 years and they haven't kicked me out yet. So
Okay. So can I ask a question? How is AI affecting your business?
it's just now starting.
Okay.
It's just now starting. We haven't seen real effects of it yet, but they have been testing on CGI stuff here for the past couple years where they don't have like the full sets like you guys saw. They'll only do partial and shoot it, and then they'll send it off, and then they'll have the CGI put everything in. Um, we just got into a couple years ago, robots. So instead of having full-time fashion photographers, we have robots that shoot fashion.
Oh.
You go into, I'm not going to go over there because they're busy, but they have this huge booth that you walk into and it's lit. It has lights everywhere, and then you have a digital tech that sits at the computer and hits the button and it just shoots, or you program it to and it shoots images. And then we use a smaller version of that robot to do our videos. In my area, we do videos of handbags and shoes with that. But the AI it's coming. We just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Wow.
So you got to adapt with the business or either get out. So that it's
Questions?
So if these companies like JCPenney don't have studios anymore, what are they doing for photography?
they do freelance, or they have outside, or what they call vendor chrome. So the vendors take photos and then upload that to JCPenney's. Since Macy's and JCPenney's are the last two big department stores, yeah, they're the last two big ones. Because Sears is gone, Lord and Taylor just left. Bloomingdale's and Blue Mercury are part of Macy's, so we don't have to worry about that. So is Toys. Oh yeah, Toys R Us is also part of Macy's now too. So, but the last two big ones are JCPenney and Macy's. And JCPenney, I don't think they have the oomph that Macy's does anymore. So, but they have outside. They farm it off to smaller studios, or the vendors upload their own stuff.
Can you explain like what the freelance world would be like?
Oh, the freelance world is it's brutal. I hate to say this, but you almost have to whore yourself out to get work. And your name has to be out there constantly, and everything is word of mouth to be put into, and it's brutal now because there's not that much work anymore because editorial's gone, architecture's leaving, real estate's the last bastion besides this. Yeah, so newspapers, print, all that stuff is dead now. They don't really, but not like 20 or 30 years ago where everyone had a couple of photographers on staff at the New York Post or Time Magazine or any of that stuff. Now it's just, now everyone's got a cell phone. So that's the sad nature of it, but it is what it is. And you kind of have to just roll with the wave. But if this gig ends, I am not coming back to this field because I can't freelance. I'm not that type of person.
Okay. We got some questions, Erica.
Mhm.
Do you guys print?
Used to. We had a room at the other end of the studio. I should tell you, the studio is a whole city block long. Where I'm at now is at the end of it, and where I'm normally at in my section is on the other side of the building. It's a full city block long. On the other side of the building, we had a room that was nothing but those big Canon printers, like that would print, I think probably 4.5 feet wide and as long as you need it. color, black and white. That whole area back there was all of our retouchers too. So they would retouch and color correct here in house. And then they got rid of all of that and sent it off overseas.
Dan, you had a question?
I was gonna say it's funny because of the freelancing thing. It's true. You actually have to talk to people. You have to like throw yourself out there. If you don't know anyone, then you're not gonna get anywhere. You're not gonna make any money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, for photography as well as videography, yeah, everyone has a phone, but you have to be able to create things that you can't with a phone.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
higher buckets. Like
Yeah.
I was eating at pho yesterday. Exactly too. And the owner that owns them was like, "Hey, we want you to like film some stuff for us for our company." And so they hired us.
That's cool. Good. Good. Any words of wisdom you'd pass on to students today?
Keep your head down, learn as much as you possibly can, retain that information as much as you possibly can. And just experiment, have fun as much as you possibly can, because this job can be grueling. There can be days you want to bang your head against the wall and just throw your hands up, but just keep persevering, keep trying, keep experimenting. Don't let it get you too down and let you get jaded by it. But other than that, if you want to get in this business, it can be fun. It can be very rewarding. You can meet a lot of really nice, cool people. Just take it with a grain of salt as much as you possibly can. And try not to get pigeonholed. Like, I can move between my handbag team, come over here and shoot beds and sheets in one day, and then move over to the tabletop stuff and shoot vacuums and pots and pans. So I can bounce between three of the biggest teams. And some people can bounce. They can go from jewelry to doing the beds to doing handbags to doing robots. Everyone here is interchangeable. We can move all over the place.
Okay.
Because we have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if one team is missing two people because they're sick, they're going to pull one of us over there somehow, some way.
Do you have a favorite department?
My handbags team. We are on our own island back there. Because in other teams, I have to work with an art director and a stylist, and that just takes forever sometimes because they're in meetings or they're getting pulled away to do other stuff or this or that. And handbags, we get our certain amount of bags. Say we get 20 bags, and between the three of us, we split those. And that's the bags that I work on.
Okay.
So I style my own stuff. I shoot all my own stuff. I edit all my own stuff back there. So like the other day, I had 7 bags. We have to do a front, a back, a side, a detail shot, and an interior shot of those bags. I did the front, back sides of those bags in 5 hours. Those 7 bags. So that's 21 shots that I did in 5 hours. And I said, you know what? That's all I got for the rest of the week. So I stopped.
Yeah.
And then my manager, he's like, oh, you're done? Okay, I'll see you. You can leave at 4. See ya. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll come back next day and I'll do all my detail shots. Detail shots is 2 per bag. So that's 14 shots. I just get that done.
Right.
And then over here where I'm at, I have to wait for art director and stylist, and then they talk back and forth, and just takes forever.
What's your hardest shot so far that you feel successful at?
I did a pair of knee-high pink suede boots. That made me almost bang my head against the wall because you have to show the suede, but also get highlights, and then suede sucks up light at the same time. And the other thing is I shot it on a deep purple. So the purple and the pink didn't want to coexist together. So I had to shoot the background to get the background right, and then shoot the boots and then paint in the proper boots on that background.
Okay. Okay.
It was, I can't even tell you. I don't remember. It was a lot.
Okay.
Because I had to do the same thing. I had to shoot the front boot, take that one out, shoot the back boot, and then put everything into Photoshop, and then just try to get everything as much as you possibly can.
Question?
When he says paint in, is he talking about layers and masking? Is that-
Yes.
Okay.
Because I say paint in because we're actually using the paintbrush on there.
Okay.
So we just layer, mask, layer, mask, layer, mask. And then in between the layer and masking, I'm also doing a curve, or I'm doing exposure, or I'm doing levels on top of that. And then once I get it all the way done, where I think it's all the way done, I can take it into camera raw and then up the clarity and texture, or up the exposure just a little bit more. And then what was the other thing? I lost track of what I was talking about.
The boot.
Texture, the boots. And then sometimes it's just one little section. Oh, that's the other thing. I do a lot of liquefy. I don't know if you've shown them liquefy yet. Liquid, like on some of the pillows, we have to have it has to be symmetrical in a curve. Or it has to have a smile. Sometimes they won't, because the pillow just won't do it, or the pillowcase just won't form. So I have to go and shoot it and then liquefy it to make it have a smile.
Okay. Okay.
And sometimes I'll do that with the bag straps to get them to be in the right angle and the right hoop. And then
Yeah. Okay.
and then some of the things, it is like the most simplest thing. We have bags that have chains, and you cannot liquefy the chains to make them look right. So my manager came up with this idea of taking the top of a Dixie cup and putting wax on it and putting that in the hoop to make it a round hoop, and then putting the fishing line through that to make sure that it's the same symmetrical shape.
Wow. So a lot of problem solving.
Lots of problem solving. Like we have chopsticks that I use to push paper down and to move stuff around in the bags, and lots of pins. We use pins for a lot of stuff to pin stuff down on the boards, and you make stuff up as you go.
How much of your day is photographing and how much of your day is editing?
Depends. Today I had nothing to do, so I edited the 12 shots that I did yesterday. There's days when I am just shooting from 9 till 4.
Okay.
And then there's days when we're done, and I'll just edit. Or if I have nothing going on, like it's a lighter day, I will edit in the morning, shoot, and edit at lunch, and then shoot.
How much editing does each shot take? About, like, if you're, let's say it takes a couple hours of shooting, how many hours then of editing?
It depends on the job.
Okay.
If the job is massive, it'll take me all day. If the job is massive, if the job is small, won't take me long at all. But it depends on how much detail is in there and how many shots I actually have. Like when I first started shooting, I was really getting better at it. On my shot list, I had 150 shots.
Wow.
That we were doing 15 a day to shoot, and then I would come in early on purpose. So I would get to work at like 7:30 just to edit as much as I can to not be behind.
Okay.
And because that was when we were so busy. I had to bring a change of shirt with me because I was sweating and running and building sets and shooting and then building sets. And now, I mean, we're still busy, but we're nowhere near as busy as we were.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think the future of this kind of work is?
That's up in the air. We're always going to need product photographers because we're always going to be selling stuff.
Okay.
Everything's going to be sold. I mean, you look on Amazon, there's pictures everywhere on that. There's always going to be pictures. Now, the editing on Amazon is horrible, but I saw a picture. They had a Harry Potter robe, and the guy's head didn't even match the size of the robe that they photoshopped his head into. It was pretty bad. But there's always going to be products that need to be photographed. There's always going to be something. So this business, it's going to evolve. And we just have to ride the wave as much as we possibly can for as long as we can. But it's always going to be here. It's been here forever. I don't think it's ever going to go away unless we just stop selling retail for everything. Because you got to have photos for cars. You got to have photos for washing machines. It's always got to be photographed.
What would you tell a student who is interested in getting into this business?
take every day as a learning process. Because there's something you may think you know everything, and then the next day you'll come in and your mind will get completely blown out of the water. Because there's always one of the guys, you didn't get to see him, but Brad, the guy who taught me the most about lighting. One day I was having absolute trouble shooting a white pillow that had white pattern on white. To get the pattern to show up on the white pillow, he was like, oh, try this. So he took a white diffusion flag and turned it towards the light as a reflector. And all of a sudden, the freaking pattern showed right up. And another time, he took my umbrella, closed it down, and moved it away from the actual image. Like, how would you think to do that? Like, but he's also been doing this for 30 years. So he started off in film doing 8x10.
Wow.
And so, but they had the Polaroid backs for that. So they had Polaroids, 8x10 Polaroids on the back of the 8x10 cameras. And once they got everything absolutely right, then they'd actually do the film.
Is,
And
is film still being done at all?
no film. It's all digital, because film in those days, you would shoot something, send it out to be developed, and then send that. The way they used to do it here is that the studio used to be in Newark, New Jersey. They'd shoot it, send it out to the lab to be processed, and then that image would be sent to Herald Square. They would look at it, then call them and say, you need to move the plant 5 inches to the left.
Oh, God.
There was a time, yeah, that's how it was. And right after COVID, we came back, and we had a couple art directors who went. I don't know if you guys remember the whole no-go states. Like, there were certain states that had bigger outbreaks. We had an art director who went to Maryland, and as soon as she got there, it went on the no-go states, and then she had to be quarantined for 2 weeks before she'd go back to work. So we were doing everything over Teams, which is like Zoom. But sometimes I'd send her an image and it'd take her 45 minutes to an hour to get back to me. And she'd go, can you turn it a quarter to the left?
Oh, no.
Shoot it, send it back. Could you put it back the way it was? Shoot it, send it back. Could you change the order of the throw blankets? All day was like that. And that's how it used to be when they would send stuff off to be the film to be processed and then looked at and then sent back.
So are they doing any tilt shift work anymore? Or is it all like done in post-production?
Depends on the job.
Okay.
Depends on the job. There's a photographer here who was doing tilt shift.
Mhm.
It just depends if they need that day.
Okay.
We have all the stuff here. We just varies.
So what would you suggest to a student who wants to get into this business? What should they develop a portfolio? Should they start practicing lighting? What should they do?
All of the above. Practice lighting. Get good at recognizing where the sun is on your lighting. Do you want it to come from behind and down in? Do you want it to come from straight from the right to left? Do you want it to come left to right? You got to practice if you on lighting, like, do you want 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, figuring out what power differences you want for those lights. Using reflector cards, white cards, especially like portrait stuff where you have the big disc, the silver disc or the gold disc. That kind of lighting, because you can go out and use natural light, use the sun, and you use one of those discs and be fine. Just depends. Get a portfolio together that you are confident about. Not just one you're like, oh, I got to throw this in there. No, you want to actually show your soul into this stuff. Like, you're selling yourself to this person to say, this is my work. I feel confident about it.
Do you present, like, you have a resume CV that you add to that?
If you're freelancing, yes. Because they let go a couple photographers. One was been here for 25 years. They let her go, but she's been here 25 years and her work is absolutely stellar. So that's one thing that helps.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is with someone new is they don't know you. So one thing you can do is you can assist on someone who's established to help get the foot in the door. That way you can learn under them. And then they can be like, hey, this guy is good. Why don't you go try this job? So find someone who is established and work under them and learn from them as much as you possibly can.
When they're, oh, go ahead.
One of my guys in my team, he said he worked with Mary Ellen.
Mark.
Yes, he used to work with her, and that's how he got his foot in the door.
Yeah.
So he worked with Mary Ellen Mark. Like, he just showed me photos that he did when they did the movie poster for Alice in Wonderland. So he was the guy. He showed me the photo where he was the one who stood there with the color chart so that she could take a photo of him and get her color balance right. And then he's telling me how the photos did, like he did with Crispin Glover, and the crow pooped on his shoulder. And then Johnny Depp had his shoes on from the Mad Hatter and all of his makeup, and he did that stuff. So that kind of stuff. And then he worked with other photographers doing travel photography all over the country and the world, doing that kind of stuff. So,
would you tell students that they need to be on Instagram?
yeah, any way that you can get your name and your images out there, because they will look for that. They will look for your social media, and like the first thing you pulled up was my old portfolio. They'll look for that too. So any way that you can have your images up for someone to look at all times is perfect, because they're going to search for your social media no matter what you do.
Any other questions from the class? All right. Well, Aaron, thank you so much.
No problem.
This was amazing.
No problem.
Any final thoughts, class? No. Okay. Yes.
They're all quiet.
They're listening.
Hold on. I was like, if you want to get a mid-range camera, what camera would you specifically get based on sensor? Would it be full frame or crop?
Always go full frame if you can, because then it is easier to edit. If it's crop sensor, you're not getting full image. You're not getting full info. It depends on how much money you buy. Right now, you can probably get the 5D line pretty cheap because it's going out. You can even go get the Nikon, the D series pretty cheap now, the D750, the 800, 810, the 610 for fairly cheap. And those are really good cameras. You don't need to go buy the most expensive camera and think that you're going to get good images. You can go buy a starter camera. Like, you can go get a Nikon 610, which is a full sensor 24 megapixel camera. It'll work great for you. Get some lens. You don't have to get the most, like the 1.2 the 1.2 50 millimeter lens and think that's going to be the best thing. No, you can go get the 1.8 or the f2. Just go shoot, because there's only one way you're going to learn and get comfortable is just to shoot. Oh, also take a light meter. Even if you're shooting digital, take a light meter.
Ken?
So I know you do a lot of stuff in the studio, but do you do anything in low light outdoors on your own time?
If I have the time, because I'm gone 12 hours a day between commuting and work. Like, my train leaves at 6:30 in the morning, and I don't get off the train until around 6:05 at night. And then I have 2 kids on top of that. So when I get home, I go into dad mode. My wife is currently in grad school, running her own business and teaching full time. So she deals with the 3 of us. I take care of the kids while she's in class. So if I do stuff, it's at night by myself or on the weekend when we're out. So like, I kick myself for not having a proper enough lens. Recently they had the moon up and you could see Mars behind it. But I don't have an 800 millimeter lens to be focused in on the moon and try to get Mars come up behind it. But, and I would love, one of my bucket list things is to go to Reykjavik so I can go see the Aurora Borealis. Take a camera up there and go shoot the Aurora Borealis.
Yeah.
I might even take a film camera. I have old color film still in my freezer that I don't care about. I could just burn through it.
Yep. Yep. I highly recommend Iceland, but I went during the summer. I didn't get to see this. Yeah,
See,
but
it's either Iceland or Alaska, either one of the two. I don't care.
both are amazing. So,
Yeah.
Aaron, thank you so much. Any final thoughts, questions? Ken, one more question?
Yeah, do you have any examples of like low light shooting that I can see like somewhere?
Do you have them on your website?
Let me look at my Instagram, see if I have anything. Hold on a second. Because I have two different Instagrams for that very reason. I have my photo one and then I have my private one.
I'll take either one.
Why am I not looking? Oh, that's the thing. Let me go to my actual images. Actually, I do. I have a glass sphere that I did with a light behind it, and all you see is the edges of it. Oh, I have some of my alternative processes on there too. I did an alternative process class where I learned how to do salt printing. Each print for salt printing took an hour between coating it with the silver nitrate to exposing it to washing it to labor of love. And then I learned that you can tone with different products. One is toned with red wine, one's toned with tea, one's done with coffee. So after it's done exposing and you get it dried, you can dunk it in tea and it'll tone darker. Wow, there's a lot of the motion ones. Oh, there's another low light. There's a couple on there. Yeah, there's several.
Is it Aaron Atkinson Photography? Is that the one?
Yeah, that's it.
I'll put it
I
on
have one. I have one of a roof that I did in Redlands. No, Riverside. That was when I got stopped by the cops after taking photos for your class.
Sorry.
I was down there I was down at the morgue in Riverside near the sheriff's station taking photos, and they actually stopped me. They asked me what I was doing. I showed them my camera. I was like, "This is what I'm doing." Matter of fact, one of the photos I did for your class is on there. One of the figure study models is on there. It's at the very bottom.
Okay, I'll look. We don't teach that anymore, but yeah.
You don't teach figure study anymore?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Frank said no.
Oh, boo.
I know. I do it, but yeah. Aaron,
That's
thanks again.
no problem, guys.
Clinton, question? What kind of degree do you have and in what?
I have a bachelor's of fine art in it's just a BA in fine arts. I didn't want to go for the BFA because I didn't think I was smart enough to do the whole thesis at the end of it. And I wish I would have done it. And then I had a chance to go for my MFA at Rutgers and learn under what was her name? She did the statue Sugar Baby.
Where'd you
her
get
name?
the BA from?
Montclair State University. It's the same school my wife went to. They had a really good art program. So we had to do color theory. We had to do art fundamentals, art history. So I did 4 photo classes there. I did commercial, photo 2, photo 3, and alternative processes. Sugar Baby. What was Sugar Baby sculpture? She did it at the old Domino. There it is. Kara Walker. I missed on the chance to learn from Kara Walker at Rutgers because they were doing a MFA, and my wife she pulled me aside and said, "You go back to school, I will kill you." Because I was obsessed with I was turning into a really good student and was obsessed with my grades. And she's like, "You need to just stop."
You were that way when I had you too.
Yeah. So I ended up getting it on the dean's list my last year. My last semester I got on the dean's list. And I was grateful that she did that because masters at this point, that's the end. There's nothing else after unless I want to teach.
You'd be a good teacher.
I maybe so. Maybe I'll go back to school one day when I'm older and wiser.
Aaron, thank you so
Right.
much for your time.
No
Uh,
problem.
Everyone give him a big round of applause. Thank you.
I may be out there in July, but you guys will be on summer break.
Pardon me?
I said I may be out there in July. We're coming
Okay.
out in July, but you guys will be on summer break then.
Well, let me know.
I'm
Take care.
still I still have to send you a print. I have a print that I did at Ellis Island.
Oh, very cool. Yes.
It's 36 by 24.
Oh, cool. I'd love to have it.
And I got it printed on museum quality paper and ink
Nice. Nice.
because my old photo teacher was like, "Yeah, I got a little extra paper and ink. You can take it."
Well, I'd
I
love to
was like,
see it. Love to see it.
I just have to get the media tube and send it to you.
Okay. Thank you
All right.
so much.
No
Thank you
problem.
so much.
No
Have a
problem,
great
guys.
day.
You too.
Bye.
All right. Bye. How do I turn this off?